Hey everyone, we're looking at basic triads in C major. This is going to be sort of a combination of practical and a theory lesson. We're working with shapes, patterns, but I'm first going to play through what you're going to learn for starters. This will be your new C chord. It's a triad, so you only need 3 notes. D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, and your octave C major. Now for some of you that know the music theory and have done a bit of triads and chord construction, you should know that in the key of C, those are the chords you'll find in the key of C. In other words, the chords I just played are all built using the C major scales notes. Now I first want to get down to breaking up what I mean by shapes and patterns. So I'm going to zoom in more closely onto my fretting hand to show you the chord shapes. We're opening up with the C major chord, and you'll notice that the whole way through this exercise I'm only using strings G, B and D. G, B and E, sorry, G, B and E strings, your bottom 3 strings. And your C major, like I said, is simply just this. Then your D minor looks like that, which I'm sure you know from the basic D minor. And here comes the important part. You can actually slide this D minor up by 2 frets to get E minor. So what we're dealing with for starters is the minor shape. D minor, E minor. If there was an F minor, it would be there. Obviously it's an F major because it's been in the wrong key otherwise. But what I want you to pick up for starters over here, if you're looking at the PDF, now if you don't have the PDF, please open it now or WhatsApp me or message me and I'll send it through to you. You need this PDF. You'll notice that both the major and minor shapes have got a highlighted dot. In other words, on the PDF itself, you'll see basic triads in C, you'll see 3 neck diagrams showing these shapes. And you'll see to the right of the page it says the major shape. This is the major shape. A minor shape, this is the minor shape. And the diminished shape, which is this. So you've got 3 primary triad shapes. You're not dealing with augmented right now, that's a study for another day. Now, your root note is on the B string. So the reason why this is D minor is because of that note. When I went from this D minor to E minor, this is E minor because that's my root note. When I went to F major, this is my major shape. Now, this over here, if you know your D major, you get an E major and an F major. That's my root note. So we're working also with inversions. That's why I said it's partly theory, partly practical as well. So D major chord has been shifted all the way up to F major, D, E, F. So your chords work on the same principle as a power chord or a bar chord. You can move your basic shapes. And that's your first lesson I want you to pick up from here. Obviously with the C major, you don't need to place the 2 fingers down because they're open strings. That's why the C major is different. But if you go all the way to fret number 12, you got your major shape again. So just to revise, I'm going to play it over here because we can. This is the major shape. Should sound like this. Nice and happy, nice and positive, typical major sound. Minor is referred to as dark or sad. You can see the flattened third, you can hear the flattened third. There's your major third, minor third inside the theory. Happy sound, sad sound. And then for the diminished, you're going to have to move the 5th down as well. So it's got a very different sound altogether. This is the diminished sound. And on the PDF, the major I've done in blue, the minor I've done in red, and the diminished in yellow. Okay, now here's the first exercise that I'd like us to go over. First of all, play all the shapes in the sequence they occur. Exercise number 1. And just quickly before we get there, the basic pattern I'm just basically playing those 3 notes. Okay, any picking pattern's fine, you can go. Or any pattern you like, it's more about the chords. Okay, back to the fretting hand. Okay, play along with me now. C major, 3 and 4 and D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and the octave C major. You'll notice at the top of the guitar as well, there's little double dots over here by the 12th fret. That means everything repeats. Okay, now comes some exercises you can try and do for yourself. You try and skip a chord, and what I mean by that, you go from C, instead of going to D minor, you skip across to E minor. Then you go back one, and you skip up to the F. So we're going C, skipping the D to the E, back to the D, skipping the E to the F, back to the E, skipping the F to the G, and you get something like this. It's quite a nice little finger tester, and I'm hoping I'll get this right. So here we go. Let's touch and go there once or twice, but it's nice exercises you can create for yourself. And like I said, you can use different picking patterns. And you can work on your own sort of patterns, whatever you like. You can try it backwards. You go. What you're going to get from this, first of all, is you're going to get to know where all the notes are. And that's a very important thing. You want to know that in the key of C major, that where I can find my notes. So if I'm busy soloing, I can know that those notes, for example, are in C major. So by doing this, you're sort of getting to know where all your notes are sitting. Also, what's quite nice, if you're playing a normal song and you're going G, D, A minor, for example, I can now do G here. I can do a D over here and A minor here. Now, on the PDF I sent you, there's going to be more than one exercise. We first dealt with the roots on the second B string, and then the second half of the PDFs is roots on the A string. So that means you're on the E string, sorry, I said A string, root on the E string. So my root's on the bottom E string. This is F. Normally it's like that, but you're leaving out the fourth string. So here's your new F. G. And again, you're learning to move your positions. So this is the major shape. If it was an A major, it would be that, but it's an A minor. Then you're going to have a B diminished. The B diminished is going to be quite like that. C major. And again, you run through all the patterns. So the second page will obviously give you roots of the G string again. So basically you're going to cover all the possible triads on the bottom three strings with the root on your E, B and G strings, which is quite cool because normally you work with bar chords. Now you're learning a bit more of a different. Now getting back to how to use this. If you're in the key of C and you're going C, A minor, F and G, that kind of gets a bit boring. So you try C over here. A minor, F, G, or we can go F and take G there. So you've got different options, you've got variety, you've got variations. So you can take the basics now and go. And you're just getting something different from the norm. So what I'm hoping to get out of this as an actual lesson is to learn new shapes. Basically, you're going to have your root on the B string. You're going to have your root on the E string, F, G, A minor, B diminished. Root on the G string. You can look at that for yourself. And then you're going to learn to know where all the notes are, and you get some pretty cool finger exercises along with the new shapes that you can obviously employ into your soloing. Here's A minor. G. Maybe put a C there. So you can just sort of spontaneously play and have some fun. So I hope this exercise works well for you. If there's any questions on it, let me know. Get to know the new shapes. It's more of a John Mayer sort of meets Mark Knopfler sort of meets Eric Clapton sort of vibe to it the whole way through. It's not your normal, let's hit the overdrive and play as fast as possible. So it's a different style and it's got the theory application. So from a theory point of view, you now know all the chords in C major. You should know all the notes at the end of the day that are in the key of C major as well. And then with some scales, you can get some nice new chord voicings as well. I hope this helps. Have a wonderful week. Take care. Cheers.